Hello and welcome to Clearview News Desk. We are reaching you live from Nigeria's capital city, Abuja. First, the headlines.
Senator Ali Ndume joins teaming voices opposed to planned relocation of some departments of Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) and the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria (FAN) headquarters to Lagos State. Ondo State Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa appoints new Deputy Governor. Dissolves State Executive Council with immediate effect, barely 3 weeks after taking over power following the death of Governor Rotimi Akeredolu in December. Nigeria's Minister of Women Affairs pledges commitment to protecting and advancing the rights of children.
I am Gloria Atta with these and more. Welcome. Senator Ali Ndume has joined voices with those opposed to the relocation of some departments of the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) and the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria (FAN) headquarters to Lagos. The CBN and FAN recently announced plans to relocate some of their offices to Lagos due to congestion of some departments and for FAN to ensure seamless operations and save costs. But appearing on a sister television station, the Senate Majority Chief Whip said such move would have political implications and warned that Tinubu was being misled by a cartel he termed Lagos Boys. He argued that the so-called members of the cartel do not know how Nigeria works and will not be able to help the president when the repercussions come. According to Ndume, if the offices were being moved due to congestion, the best place would be Niger, Nasarawa, Kaduna, or Kogi and other states surrounding Abuja for the sake of proximity instead of faraway Lagos. Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa of Ondo State has dissolved the State Executive Council with immediate effect. Ayedatiwa also ordered the cabinet members to hand over all official property with them to the permanent secretaries or most senior administrative officers. This dissolution was made known in a statement issued this Wednesday by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Prince Ebenezer Adeniyi. In the statement, the governor also fired all aides as he appreciated them for contributing their quota to the development of Ondo State. The dissolution is coming barely 3 weeks after Ayedatiwa took over power following the death of Governor Rotimi Akeredolu in December. Before Akeredolu's death, there was a serious crisis between his camp and that of his predecessor. President Bola Tinubu had intervened to resolve the crisis, but the intervention did not yield desired result. Meanwhile, barely few hours after the dissolution of the State Executive Council, the Ondo State Governor, Lucky Ayedatiwa, nominated the former Deputy Clerk to the National Assembly, Olaide Owolabi Adelami, as the new Deputy Governor of the state. Ayedatiwa, who announced this through his Chief Press Secretary, Ebenezer Adeniyi, said his nomination will be announced by the House of Assembly later in the day. Nigeria's Central Bank Governor, Dr. Olayemi Cardoso, says he expects headline inflation to fall to 21.4% in 2024. The Apex Bank boss disclosed this during his keynote speech at the launch of the Nigerian Economic Summit Group Macroeconomic Outlook Report for 2024. He said, inflationary pressures are expected to decline in 2024 due to the CBN's inflation targeting policy, which aims to rein in inflation to 21.4%. According to him, the inflation targeting will help the government in its battle against inflation, which hit 28.9% in December. The 2023 popular song Buga by Kiss Daniel and Tekno, according to Nigeria's Vice President Kashim Shettima, is on the verge of becoming the nation's second national anthem. Shettima, whose Buga dance video went viral last year, said he accepted the dance challenge because Nigeria needs to show off its arts and culture to the rest of the globe. According to him, The government is still dedicated to advancing the arts and culture to realize the lofty goal of Nigeria Destination 2030. Now, killings and burning of houses have continued in Mangu Town, Mangu local government area of Plateau State, despite the 24-hour curfew imposed by the government. Governor Caleb Mutfwang had imposed a curfew after fresh killings were recorded in the area on Tuesday. But the violence continued as residents of Mangu confirmed that gunmen stormed several communities, shooting at everyone in sight. The attackers reportedly burnt houses, including the Sunna Islamia School, located along the popular Gindiri Road. And back here in Abuja, the Minister of State for Labor and Employment, Nkiruka Onyejocha, says the federal government is committed to maintaining lasting peace and harmony in all sectors of the country. Onyejocha made the disclosure when she received the leaders of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, led by its acting president, Issa Ore, at the Labour Ministry on Tuesday in Abuja. She also gave assurances that the ministry will do everything within its powers to ensure peace returns to the ranks of the conflict-ridden NURTW. Clearview News' Imefun Okon was there and now tells us more.
While receiving leaders of the National Union of Road Transport Workers (NURTW), led by its acting president, Issa Ore, at the ministry in Abuja on Tuesday, the Minister of State for Labor and Employment, Nkiruka Onyejocha, said the federal government is determined to ensure overall peace and progress in the country and also ready to resolve the conflict within the ranks of the NURTW.
President have assured Nigerians that all of us will be driven to our destination, which is the next level of the expectation of Nigeria under renewed hope agenda. And I assure you that if there are anything that is left undone as we speak, that with your kind cooperation, that it will be done. There is nothing that cannot be resolved, and I believe that we will work assiduously with you. We cooperate with your vision and you cooperate with our vision and our mandate. Because our vision and our mandate is to make sure there is peace in this country, that everybody will be happy, that the president is working assiduously to make sure that every agreement is entered with various people are followed through and implemented.
The acting president of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, Issa Ore, in his response, said the union was at the ministry to thank the minister for its effort in ensuring justice, fairness, and impartiality in the handling of the affairs of the union.
We believe, that the struggle for survival of our union, which we started May last year, is not unfamiliar to you, as we have been regular guests to this ministry since your appointment as Honorable Minister of State. In all of it, we remain grateful to the Ministry of Labor and Employment, being our mother ministry, for choosing to tread the path of justice, fairness, impartiality in the handling of the affairs of our union, despite all effort by detractors to intimidate and ridicule your efforts. Consequently, we have experienced peace, unity, and progress in the NURTW. We reaffirm our solidarity and go away to the ministry and to your good self, while appealing to you, to continue to tread the path of truth, justice, and impartiality so that our union can enjoy and sustain industrial peace and harmony in the country.
National Union of Road Transport Workers (NURTW) is a trade union under the Trade Unions Act, duly registered and recognized by Nigeria's Constitution and the Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment, and governed by its approved Constitution. Imefun Okon, reporting for Clearview News.
The Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS, says it collected 12.37 trillion naira as tax revenue in 2023. This was disclosed at the 2024 Strategic Management Retreat organized by the service in Abuja this Wednesday. Speaking on the revenue generation in 2023, the Executive Chairman, Federal Inland Revenue Service, Zach Adedeji, said the revenue collection increased by over 2 trillion naira compared to to a target of 10.17 trillion naira that the service had in 2022. Clearview News' Imefunokon was there and now tells us more.
With the theme Reimagining Tax Administration for Equity and Economic Growth, the Executive Chairman, Federal Inland Revenue Service (FIRS), Zak Adedeji, said the event marks a historic moment as the service unveils the new FIRS organizational structure it called a critical milestone in its commitment to revolutionize tax administration in Nigeria. Adedeji urged all taxpayers to embrace change, to be pioneers in the transformative journey, and to envision the future the government is building.
The forthcoming structure is not just a set of reforms, it is a commitment to redefine service rule in shaping modern, efficient, and customer-focused tax administration system through innovative organizational structuring and process optimization. Service is committed to fostering a taxpayer-friendly environment that aligns with global best practices and positions Nigeria as a leader in contemporary tax administration. As we unveil this new chapter in the history of the service, I urge all of you to embrace change, to be pioneer in this transformative journey, and to envision the future which we are collectively building together.
The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, declaring the event opened, said the administration under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu aims to grow the economy through revenue generation without borrowing. It therefore urged FIRS boss to have a customer-centric structure that works better for all while ensuring that the burden of tax is not limited to just a few, but everyone. Similarly, the Accountant General of the Federation, Oluwatoyin Medeyin, said there have been massive improvements in tax collection within FIRS over the years.
But bear in mind that in order to maintain and build confidence and public trust, people in Nigeria, taxpayers, the general public, what they want to see is that their money is faithfully collected as it should be and properly spent and accounted for with minimal excess, waste, and leakage. They deserve it, and I believe you will give it to them.
It is expedient that tax laws and administrative processes are all inclusive. It must be stakeholder-centric and not just taxpayers-centric. If all taxes are collected and there is no accountability, fulfillment of social contracts between the taxpayers and government will be nearly impossible. You will all agree with me that Nigeria has never been short of effective tax laws, but rather it has been plagued by ineffective tax administration. However, the story is changing. A lot of tax revenues are left uncollected. The current tax base needs to be expanded while at the same time finding new and improved ways and means and partnerships that engender tax revenue growth. With strategic cooperation within FIRS and strategic partnership, and by challenging the status quo, I am strongly convinced that FIRS can set a new standard for tax administration in Africa.
The new operational structure that is being established at the Federal Inland Revenue Service is expected to eliminate confusion and redundancy in tax administration in Nigeria. Imefunokon, reporting for Clearview News.
If you are just joining us, you're watching the news on Clearview News Desk. Don't be in competition with anyone. Don't have the desire of playing the game better than anyone. Simply try to be better than you were last year. We will be back after this break. Stay with us. Welcome back. In today's fast-paced world, there is so much focus on speed, crushing goals and attaining new feats within a short period of time. Although the results are often seen as enviable, the trend oftentimes causes many to overstretch themselves to meet up, even at the detriment of their physical and mental well-being. Unfortunately, children are also victims of this vicious cycle, which psychologists call the horrid child syndrome. As Nigeria joins the global community to mark this year's International Day of Education, stakeholders are calling for an immediate review and regulation of the school entry age for children in the country. They made the call during an interaction with top management officials of the Federal Ministry of Education this Wednesday in Abuja. Let's now join Clearview's correspondent for details.
Across the world, January 24 is marked annually as the International Day for Education to highlight the importance and contributions of education in promoting peace and sustainable development. As Nigeria joins other nations of the world to mark the occasion, stakeholders in the advancement of quality and inclusive education have expressed concern over the country's lukewarm attitude towards addressing key issues affecting her education system. At a visit to the Federal Ministry of Education, a non-governmental organization, a Mother's Love Initiative, and the Civil Society Action Coalition on Education noted that worthy of note among the issues on ground affecting Nigeria's education system is the horrid child syndrome, a practice of rushing children from childhood to adulthood overnight by skipping the process of natural growth. According to them, the future of Nigeria is dependent on the proper growth and development of children, and hurrying a child through life is a form of abuse that must be stamped out of the society.
Our ask today is for the federal government to see how our children to develop a policy that will guide the stakeholders to ensure that the Nigerian children enter school at the appropriate age and also graduate at the appropriate age. This early schooling, a primary 4 child, writing common interest in primary 4, skipping primary 5 and primary 6 is really affecting both their mental development and also the skills and learning they would have gained while following the right process. We are using the day, the International Day of Education, that speaks to peace, to intimate the Federal Ministry of Education that we are demanding for a policy that will really channel to this so that the stakeholders will take appropriate steps to make sure that the children go to school at their pace.
In China today, to be honest with you, before you start learning how to read and write proper in school as an education, you must be 6 years. And that 6 years, it's not that a child, even at your credit, that you cannot start doing something. You can start doing something, but do other things. Learn how to call daddy, learn how to call mommy, learn how to wash plate, learn how to sweep, keep the house clean, learn how to make things. I mean, you start from there. But when the school age, the proper school age, is that 6 years, and that is the only time they will admit you into school. What we are asking for, let these children, for future sake, enter to school at the appropriate age.
Everything we learn on a daily basis, from when a child starts speaking, forms the child, forms a nation, and that's why we must not take it for granted. Today we have so much insecurity in our nation, and it is still tied to education. We can't rule out the space of education in it. Now, as out of school children are increasing, we realize insecurity is also increasing. So we need to address the fundamental issues. We need to start speaking to ourselves as a people in Nigeria, as a nation, that we need to get it right. And if we don't get it right, we'll keep going round in circles. And that's why it's important for us, and I believe, I just want to also advocate for this, that we do all that we can do to make sure that education gets to the quality education, not just education at the surface level.
In her remarks, The Deputy Director, Basic Education in the Ministry, noted that ensuring quality education is a collective responsibility and restated the federal government's commitment to providing a safe, quality and inclusive education for all Nigerians.
Some of us here, many of us here are parents. And I will say we are culprits. When did our children start school? They started earlier than what is in the national policy. So that is why I said, education, you play your part, I play my part, the government is playing their parts. We are talking about hurry child. What I can say categorically, that most of us here, our children did not start school at the age of 6. They started much earlier, which is against the policy, Federal Ministry of Education, that is stated in the National Policy of Education. And in terms of children out of school, it's everybody's responsibility too.
The group also used the opportunity to call on the federal government to review education funding in the country so as to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities for all.
The Minister of Women Affairs, Barrister Uju Kennedy Ohaneye, has once again pledged her commitment to protecting and advancing the rights of Nigerian children so as to enable them unlock their great potentials and contribute meaningfully to nation building in the future. The minister stated this Tuesday at a get-together with students from across the FCT to usher in the new year. Clearview's correspondent was there and now tells us more.
In today's fast-paced world, children often have busy schedules filled with academic and extracurricular activities. While it is important for children to stay engaged in learning and development, it is equally important for them to take some time off and engage in leisure activities. To this end, the Ministry of Women Affairs organized this get-together for students drawn from schools within the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Speaking at the event, the Minister for Women Affairs, Barrister Uju Kennedy Ohaneye, said the event was put together to help children create a balance between academic and recreational activities.
The essence is to let children know that all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. And you bring them together so that they start realizing that we are one. This is Nigeria, not about tribe, not about religion. So the party is like a union kind of thing, unity kind of thing. That is the major reason. And Easter, we will have it again. 1st October, we'll have it again. 27th May. As far as I remain the minister, it will be nothing like all work and no play. We will work and we will play. It has been my motto before now.
You can see the excitement in the faces of the children, and you can see the participation. Both the children and the adults that are here are really happy to be part of this occasion. And just like what my Honorable Minister said, but it's Uju Kennedy Ohaneye, this will be something that will be sustainable. And we'll work as a full soldier to ensure that we sustain this and make it even a national program for the children of Nigeria to know that their well-being and their recreation is uppermost in the mind of government.
Stakeholders at the event, while lauding the initiative, encourage children to be diligent and dedicated as they go about their daily lives and academic activities.
You also have a role to play in nation building. Don't see yourselves as just children to enjoy life, sleep, wake up, eat, play, and go to school. You have to start to build yourselves as Nigerians, as leaders of today, not just tomorrow.